this particular month, well, do month. He
Morning.
who is engineer Kefas Kalembo?
Uh, in these various technology sectors that are centered at, trying to solve various challenges that are centered on different human issues in our society.
All right, and talking about solving various issues that are centered on the human aspect, your area of interest, I've noticed, is that of education. Yes, what are some of the innovations that you are bringing in the education sector? And at the same time, I would want you to speak to embracing the technology, because we've been very much used in the traditional ways of doing things day by day, as they were brought by the people who brought them to us.
Yeah. So what what we do, many different things. And like I said, I'm a business person, so I run a business in two countries, continents, if we can say, in Zambia as well as in the USA. So in terms of the focus area in Zambia, we focus on education, particularly providing educational technology tools that are used in STEM education. So these educational technologies that we provide is there to, make and amplify the effort of a teacher, in the sense that instead of just depending on a chalk and the board, you use modern tools that enables a teacher to speak to a learner to different senses, because there are certain learners that are good at imagining concepts, but intelligence doesn't end at imagining things. Okay, it goes beyond that. So it means with educational technology, then it might mean that a teacher can also actually include those learners who are able to imagine things, but they are, maybe just analytical, or they are logical in their kind of processing information. So the good part about embracing such technologies is it helps both the teacher, it helps also the learner. From the teacher perspective, it makes the work easier, because instead of wasting much time laboring to try and put the concept across, using technology, that will be very easy for the teacher to just, for instance, use multimedia, such as a video or a picture, to show what kind of a concept the teacher is trying to explain to the child, while it's also making that particular lesson interactive for the learner side, so that they can easily adapt to whatever concept that the teacher is trying to put across in that particular lesson.
Now, let's talk about the aspect now of embracing. Here we've got a culture where sometimes we resist technology, in the sense that maybe negative information has been given. For instance, one technology that has received a lot of debate is the use of social media platforms. Now, in your case, how are the people embracing, and what's your message to embrace these innovative ideas, so that we can progress and meet up, catch up with other countries that might be 50 years ahead of us?
Well, technology is with us, and it will always be with us. So what is important is for us to, find good progressive ways of using it. So speaking to social media is there to make life easier for people who are just starting business, because right now you can simply create your content in whatever form it is, you share it on the social media, and you have already put it in presence of would-be customers, which wasn't the case in the previous time. But not only that, even when it comes to social issues, we are able to, connect in this one big village, where we can be able to share ideas, information with less cost. Because in the old days, for you to listen to a program like this one, you needed to have a very big TV. You needed to have, some other satellite communication devices that you need to have at your place. But this time around, people can watch this on Facebook. So that in itself has made life very easy. Some people are using Facebook for learning. Did you know that there are a lot of content that you can learn from on Facebook? There are content creators on Facebook who just create legitimate content for the purposes of passing on knowledge. So you can also learn from there. But not only that, also Facebook is being used for information. Information is very important to acquire information, to know what's happening in your country, to know what's happening in in sectors that you are interested in, such as football and these other things. It becomes easier to do those things with technology. Without technology, what would have been the case is that we have to travel to go and collect the information and take it to another place. Of course, it has got its own bad side, but for the most part, it's a good thing that would help you and help everyone in terms of development, in terms of communal concerns of social issues, as well as just it has also economical side, because as you could see now, we have musicians who are making money through these same social platforms. YouTube is another example of a social platform, though most people don't think it's a social platform, but it is. And it has a side of economical value where someone could consistently share their experiences in life, create content there, and they start monetizing that content, and they are being paid, which also has that economical side of it.
All right, now let's talk about the project that got me interested, and it prompted me to invite you to come on this particular program, the 21st Century Classroom. What is it all about?
Okay, so with our ZStudy project, so in our line of business, we have got something we call ZStudy. So ZStudy is an ecosystem of various educational tools that helps to modernize the classroom. So what we have realized in that line of business is that there is a gap that's been created between the advancement in technology versus the education that we are giving to the learners, or how we are actually offering that particular education. So then we decided to come up with an online course that will allow a teacher who was trained maybe 30 years ago but is still practicing to be able to take that particular course and update their knowledge on what is the current trends in educational technology. Because as you know, technology is just a means of efficiency. Now what that means is that we use technology to achieve certain things effectively. I'll give a number of examples, just even starting from here, the studio where we are. In addition to transmitting the signal from other traditional means, you're also streaming on Facebook, you're streaming probably on YouTube and other means. What you're doing is you're trying to be more efficient to cater even for people who do not own TV stations, but TV sets, but also those who might be traveling. Okay, they might be in a bus going to Copperbelt. I could simply watch my favorite program from KBN just through
A gadget.
through Facebook. So that is the efficient side of technology. So technology is there to make what you already do more efficient. It's not to take over what you do. It's not to make it detrimental. No, it's just to make it efficient. That's what technology is for. So in our case of that, the 21st century classroom, what we are saying is that how can we make a teacher more adaptive to the changes in the technology? Because the learners that we are training in schools are supposed to go into the society where technology has evolved. Imagine somebody who finished grade 12 in 99, there was no artificial intelligence. Okay? Someone who has finished grade 12 now is going into an industry where there are robots, where there is artificial intelligence. So it means, how do we give knowledge to this particular learner so that they still remain relevant as they go in this particular society? So that's what this course is looking about, is tackling. So just to quickly highlight what the major concepts we are tackling in that program, we are tackling what we are calling content-based education. So as you are aware, the Curriculum Development Center under the Ministry of Education have revised the Zambian curriculum. Now, amongst the concepts that they have brought in there, there's what they are calling competence-based education. Now, what this competence-based education is all about is to say, when you're teaching a child about sets, as an example, what competence should Elena get out of that? Should it just be sets and Venn diagrams, or should it have an attachment of competence to that? To just define what competence is, competence might be defined as a collective a collection of skills, knowledge, attitude that enables you to perform a measurable task. That is what a competence is. So you have the knowledge, you have the skill, you have attitudes. These things put together gives you an ability to perform a task. An example, someone who's driving a car is competent to drive a car because he has a skill to change the gears and rotate the driving wheel. But in addition to that, he has a knowledge of the rules on the road. Okay? And he has some other attitudes to be able to focus on the road. So all that put together qualifies someone to be competent to be able to drive on the road. So in that same definition, if you are teaching a child about sets, what kind of competences are they supposed to get from there? The teachers that we already have in schools are unable to do this because when they were trained in school, they did not have this knowledge. So what that means is that we need to retrain them if that curriculum is going to be effective. And the initiative we are doing is just to try and help the government to kind of retrain some of the teachers so that they can come to speed with the concept of this competence-based education. But you are also looking at some contemporary technologies in education, such as what we call STEM. STEM being science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Okay, it's a concept that encourages learning to be project-based or by doing. Okay, so you are learning your science, and you are also being practical about it. So that's what STEM is about. So we are also explaining STEM. And the good thing is that we are the only company in Zambia that manufactures STEM kits. Okay. So a STEM kit is basically a kit that allows you to teach these 4 or 5 concepts of STEM. Now that's science, technology, engineering, and mathematics together, like that. So we manufacture those in Zambia, and we are exclusively the only company that does that. So we have the authority to train people on that because of that particular background. Then going further, we are also teaching teachers on what we are calling application of multimedia in education. Multimedia like this. So multimedia is simply the combination of text, audio, visual, and simulation. So we also have created what we call virtual labs because we realize that as an example from the school that I attended when I was in my secondary school, there was no laboratories. So, and laboratories were not there because they were expensive, and they are still expensive. And in most of the schools that we have moved, including in private, the labs are expensive. So now we have created a whole lab set, but on a computer. Now we are calling it virtual lab. So this allows now a child to interact with the concepts of science, such as experiments in diffusion, heat transfer, circuits, and all these kind of experiments that they should have done in school. But then we have put them on a computer to make it easier for the child to be able to interact with this. And some other topics that we are looking at in that particular course, including what we are calling the teacher's toolbox. Imagine, why doesn't a teacher have a toolbox? All other fields and professions, they have the toolbox, yeah? But the teacher does not have
I
a toolbox.
only know of a chalk and the duster coat.
Yes, so a chalk and the board is the greatest educational technology or tool that has been invented. Because for the largest part of the centuries, we have learned through things like that. But what I'm trying to say with the teacher's toolbox is that me as an engineer, a young engineer, graduated, I'm hired at a company, I'll start building a simple toolbox. Okay, eventually I'll open a garage at the corner as a mechanic with that toolbox that I've developed. This should be the same also with a teacher. A teacher needs to have a toolbox. A lawyer has that thing that they carry when you just say, that is a lawyer. A medical doctor, they have got their own, toolbox and other things like that. A teacher should also do the same. But now the toolbox for the teacher is no longer the chalk and the board and the textbook because technology has advanced in that particular sense. So what should be the case now is that a teacher needs to have what we call a pocket projector. This is a simple projector, like a phone. That will allow a teacher to be able to teach using diverse multimedia application, regardless of where they are. Because you can charge it with a solar panel, you can charge it with electricity and all that. Very simple gadget. So that even if you are in Mwense or you are in Zambezi, you can still be able to show the impact of AI to a child in that particular class. Okay, you can be able to simulate the heart so that this child would be able to see that heart as you are teaching them. If you are teaching civic education, you'd be able to show them to say, this is how the parliament looks like in Lusaka. This is how the state, because do you know you can visit that state house virtually, yeah? Using just Google Earth. You can visit it.
Yes,
so imagine a teacher teaching you about 3 arms of government and you saw them in that lesson. How can you forget something like that? You cannot forget.
Yes.
You are teaching a child history about all these historical sites and all that. You virtually visit them. Okay? I'm seated in class like this. The teacher puts this simple PowerPoint there. And then we visit these historical sites.
Virtually.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, engineer. I wish we could go on and on, but that's a lot of information. Do you have any social media platform where people can reach you and get more information in case of any further questions?
Yes, so we do have a social platform. So on Facebook, we are on ZStudy. That's ZStudy. So the word study, you just start it with a Z. So ZStudy like that, you find us on Facebook. And of course, my personal Facebook is just Kefas Kalembo.
Kefas Kalembo.
Yes.
Thank you very much, engineer, and I wish you all the best in your innovations.
Thank you so much.
Right, on that note, we come to the end of today's segment in the entrepreneurship. On the entrepreneurship, rather, segment, we were talking about in embracing technological advancement, and engineer Kefas Kalembo has just explained the importance of embracing technology. Still to come, I'll be having a chat with one gospel artist, Dorcas. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere.